TikTok has a new financial trend, and it's not about saving money or investing wisely. Scrolling through your For You page, you're seeing people actually celebrate filing for bankruptcy. They're calling it the greatest decision they ever made. They're telling you it's the ultimate hack to wipe your debt clean and start over. Searches for how to file for bankruptcy yourself have surged 600% in the past month alone. Videos with millions of views are framing bankruptcy as a savvy financial shortcut, a way to bypass years of painful repayments. Here's the problem. Nobody on TikTok is telling you what happens after. The bankruptcy doesn't disappear. It doesn't reset your life. It becomes a 6-year anchor tied to your financial future. And I'm going to show you exactly why this trend is a trap. Let's start with the truth. Gen Z is drowning in debt, and nobody can blame them for looking for a way out. On average, Gen Zers carry more than $94,000 in personal debt. That's far surpassing millennials at $60,000 and Gen X at $53,000. And this debt hits earlier than any generation before, right as they're launching their careers, with wages that haven't kept up with inflation. But here's the irony. Only 39% of Gen Z answered basic financial literacy questions correctly, making them the worst-performing generation in financial knowledge. Yet they invest more frequently than any other age group, topping up accounts an average of 12 times a year. It creates a perfect storm. You have a generation that's desperate, financially confused, and taking financial advice from people on TikTok who have zero qualifications. The result is dangerous, and bankruptcy is the latest example. So what are TikTok creators actually saying about bankruptcy? They're posting videos claiming it was the best thing that ever happened to them. They talk about erasing $65,000 in credit card debt in just a few months. They show off their credit scores bouncing back and credit card offers pouring in. I want you to pause for a second. Does that sound realistic to you? Filing for bankruptcy, a court process, a legal status, and then walking away with a better credit score. It's not just misleading, it's dangerously incomplete. Here's what these viral videos conveniently leave out. In the U.S., a Chapter 7 bankruptcy stays on your credit report for 10 years. Chapter 13 stays for 7 years. In the UK, it's 6 years, and until it's removed, it shows on your public record for anyone to find. That's not an inconvenience. That's a decade of your financial life being impacted. Think about what that actually means. You want to buy your first home? Most mortgage lenders won't even consider your application. You need to rent an apartment? Many landlords pull credit history. You're applying for a job? Private companies can check your credit history in most states before making hiring decisions. The TikTok creators who call bankruptcy a hack are doing the same thing as influencers selling detox teas. They're showing you the highlight reel and hiding the brutal reality. Let me walk you through what actually happens when you declare bankruptcy. And I want to be really fair here. For some people, bankruptcy is the right choice. It's a legal protection that exists for people who have absolutely no way out. People facing medical catastrophes, job loss, or unexpected financial devastation. A bankruptcy attorney interviewed by Business Insider noted that in roughly 70% of the cases he handles, especially with young people, it's not poor financial planning that pushes them there. It's an event completely out of their control. But here's the problem. 70% isn't 100%. And the other 30%? They're filing because they made bad choices and are being told by TikTok that bankruptcy is a clean exit, not a last resort. The best decision of my life narrative, circulating from creator to creator, has led to an explosion of personal bankruptcies nationwide. Individual filings have been climbing since 2022, with more than 533,000 cases last year. But think about who's really benefiting from this trend. When you file for bankruptcy, you're still required to disclose everything to the court. You have to prove your debts. You have to get approved by a judge. You can't simply wipe away student loans, alimony, child support, or most tax debt. And if you own a second car, you might be forced to sell them to repay your creditors. The TikTok video made it sound simple. The reality is nothing but. There's another dimension to this crisis that the viral videos completely ignore, the psychological one. Debt carries shame, stress, and isolation, but so does bankruptcy. In fact, it can be a much more traumatic event than TikTok might make it sound like, according to one financial planning expert. The creators who claim bankruptcy was the best thing they ever did, many of them later admitted their journeys weren't easy. One Canadian creator who documented her journey after filing at 24 is still paying off the remaining debt 2.5 years later. Another creator with $85,000 in student loans found herself in a cycle of stress about money, go shopping to relieve that stress. Her path to financial health wasn't a shortcut. It was years of painful trade-offs and lifestyle changes. When a friend finally looked at her budget, they gave her a startling reality check. You don't have a spending problem, you have an income problem. The truth is, social media can create accountability and community around debt repayment, but it can also make bankruptcy feel like a lifestyle choice, not the serious legal status it actually is. Let's bring this back to the bigger picture. Gen Z is being told by social media that bankruptcy is a hack, a shortcut to escape the financial nightmare they've been pushed into by rising costs, stagnant wages, and easy credit. But that's a lie. Bankruptcy is a legal process with serious consequences that can follow you for years. It can delay or limit your access to mortgages, credit, housing, and even jobs. It's not a clean slate. It's a reset button with a 10-year cool-down period. The best way to avoid bankruptcy isn't to treat it as a hack. It's to treat it as a last resort. It's to build your financial literacy, understand risk, and stop taking financial advice from people who post videos for a living. Because here's the final kicker. In 2026, financial literacy in U.S. adults hit its lowest level in a decade. On the TIAA Institute's Personal Finance Index, Americans correctly answered only 47% of questions, with risk comprehension ranking at the absolute bottom. We are, as a society, getting worse at understanding money, and the solution to that problem is not bankruptcy, it's education. If you're currently struggling with debt, I want you to hear this. You're not alone, and there are better paths forward than bankruptcy. Look into debt consolidation, talk to a certified financial planner, or start with small emergency savings before aggressively paying down debt. But please, don't get your financial advice from TikTok. Your future self will thank you.